Hello everyone and welcome back to the Heritage Show. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas and a happy new year. We've been a little away for a few weeks, so it's good to be back. When the new stadium was built, I think a lot of people were looking forward to the summer days, the lovely sunshine bouncing off the Mersey, and a lot was said about those cold January night games under the floodlights, in the snow, in the wind. Well, it's January, it's cold, it's windy, we've had a week of snow, and well, let me tell you, it's not a walk in Stanley Park, that's for sure. Hopefully a good result tonight can make up for it. My guest is the very special Becky Tallentire. Becky started her career over in live television, Liverpool Live, back in the 90s, before continuing a career as a writer and an author, and a journalist, and many other accolades, which I have no doubt we'll talk about this afternoon. So really looking forward to this chat. She's a good family friend and a very entertaining lady. So I hope you guys enjoy the show.
Marching down the Goodison Road.
One of Britain's greatest footballers.
Sharp, what a fantastic goal! And the Evertonians have gone berserk. Oh, yes, he's got it!
One Evertonia is worth 20 Liverpudlians.
Oh, it's great stuff by Everton.
Heritage.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Everton Heritage Show, brought to you by members of the official Everton FC Heritage Society. I'm Royden and I am joined today by the very fabulous Becky Tallentire. So thanks very much for coming in and joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, it's a pleasure.
You are very, very welcome. If I were to introduce you via your Instagram bio, I would be saying you're a memoirist, a celebrant, a poet, a teacher, a cat lover, an Evertonian, a writer, a tortoise wrangler, and a prison tutor.
Yes.
Many strings to the bow.
Not in that order, but yes.
I was going to be,
Yeah.
Tortoise wrangler, any insight there?
I inherited a tortoise, that's quite an interesting thing. Whoever knew tortoises were so interesting. Anyway, he's hibernating in my wardrobe as we speak, but yeah.
There you go. Okay, just
He plays a part in our family.
what's his name?
George. Sits on the fireplace and, you know.
I was just really curious about that. Really, everything else, I feel like I know Becky. I know Becky, but tortoise wrangler wasn't so sure. So clearly, you've amassed many accolades in your life supporting Everton, from author of all these great books that we have around us at the moment, which I'm sure we will get onto shortly. I just want to start off by asking, as I ask everybody, like where did it all start for you? Like I believe Alan Ball in your first game, and
Alan Ball scored my first game. My brother is a mad Evertonian, and of course we would go somewhere at the weekends. Our dad would take us somewhere, and Mark begged, could we please go to see Everton? So that was how I ended up going there. I think it was just 5 or 6 at the time. And of course Alan Ball scored, because Alan Ball always scored. And of course he was my brother's hero. Not only because he was Alan Ball, but because he was a redhead, and this was all the ginger kids loved Alan Ball.
Yeah. What year would that be?
69.
69.
Now I only know this because it's the same first match as Steve Dickinson, who's my podcast partner.
Of course, yeah.
Shared the same first match.
That's a coincidence.
I know, it's amazing.
Did you find that out later when you started the podcast and realised then? That's a coincidence, isn't it? So was Everton like a big part of your young life, or was it?
No, not really, but it was a big part of my brother's life. And really, so I always liked Everton, I always followed Everton, but I really only got involved with Everton in a big way. I worked abroad for a long time. From all the glory years, I wasn't here.
Right, yeah.
So I came back in about 95 or something like that. And then I was a loyal Evertonian all the time at the matches, and I kind of stumbled upon a career in broadcasting.
Yeah.
And I ended up interviewing Howard Kendall and Joe Royal and whatever on a weekly basis.
Well, I share your pain of missing the glory years, but I feel like it's for a slightly different reason, in that I wasn't born for them. I'm afraid. Right. So yeah, I saw 95 as well.
Yeah.
But you missed them. Did you move to South Africa?
Went to South Africa, yes, and I went out to South Africa in the early 80s, 82, and I ended up working in the casino business, so that kept me away for a long time. And but you could follow. I mean, it's not as easy to follow then as it is now, but you could always find out the score and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so you didn't miss it while you were on your travels, kind of thing.
I was, I was in another world. I mean, when I was in South Africa, they didn't even have television.
Yeah.
So we were in casinos which were in the homelands, so there wasn't even a road, you know what I mean? So we just were out there. So, but there was always an Evertonian somewhere along the line. Yeah. Always a Scouser somewhere, isn't there?
They'll always find you. Always Evertonians as well, it seems.
Right,
yeah, everywhere. So as you say, back on Merseyside, mid-90s, I'm sure many folks will remember a certain TV channel, Liverpool Live. With the exclamation point as the eye.
That's right. Yeah.
Remember it was it was a national channel, wasn't it? And then they had the regional.
Exactly that. And the bureaus. And
so you featured on that.
It was the plan was to network the country. It was what was called tabloid TV. It was in that time when Chris Evans and all the ladettes and all that sort of thing were coming through, and so they wanted to network the country with live TV, which was the Daily Mirror.
Yeah,
and so they wanted like the Daily Mirror on the telly, and that's what we did.
That's it.
Say hi to the stressed lot in the gallery. Hey, that's the last you'll see of them.
Live on live telephone. Hello, my name's Alan Partridge and I'm live.
On live TV.
Hey, how you doing out there? It's Peter Andre here, and you're watching Live TV.
Who's making your hats?
Well, Philip, of course. He always makes them. Philip Somerville.
Oh, hi. Are you Patrick Cox?
I am.
Please, can you let us come into your house?
Well, just copy our stuff, but change the nouns. So that the jokes are the same, but the main, the words are different. Which is what we did with the Goodies. And that's all right.
I believe it was the first 24-hour live channel. Is that right?
Oh, it probably was. Yeah. That came from London, that feed, and then it threw to the bureau on the hour for half an hour. So we always had to have loads of local news and small bits of news and loads of sport. And of course, we got access to all the clubs and the rugby and Everton, Liverpool, Tranmere.
So what was your role then? Did you? I think I found. There was a show called Red, White and Blue. Was that yours?
That was our show, yeah. So
what was your role? Show. What were you doing?
Well, I'd gone there as the work experience. I just went and I was like Yozza Hughes. Let me come, because I was trying to get out of the casino business, which was like the end. I couldn't do it anymore. What can I do forever? I'd love to be in broadcasting. So I went off to college. And the first opportunity that came, I wanted to work in radio, really. I had visions of doing lovely packages for Radio 4 and all that, but that never happened. The first job I fell into was work experience at Liverpool Live, and as soon as the first casualty fell, I got a job.
Yeah.
So I would do anything. Whatever they wanted me to do, I'd do. So one day they said to me, who knows anything about football? Everyone was like, oh, not me. I said, well, I know a bit, but only Everton. And they said, well, you need to go and interview Howard Kendall. So he was my first interview. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. He'd just come back to Everton for the third time then. And so that Belfield, and there was Howard Kendall. So that was the first interview.
So would that be? So you were going there for Howard arriving as the new manager?
Yeah.
Right, I see.
So it was just the tail end of Joe Royle, and then Howard came.
Yeah.
And
do you know, I was actually researching photographs for another interview recently, and I saw the kind of melee of media around Howard in the main stand.
Yeah.
And there's one comment underneath it, and it's you going, "I'm in there somewhere." So that was day one, was it? Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll have to dig that photo out again. Like
Brilliant.
I'll add it in.
That.
But live TV, it kickstarted quite a few careers. A few of the notable presenters that I discovered. You got Julia Bradbury, Richard Bacon, and Claudia Winkleman as well. So.
Yes,
quite
that's
a
right.
few people made the start there, didn't they?
Well, the thing is with it, because it was so sort of loose, you could just sort of make it up as you go along, and there was no limits really. You could say anything, you could do anything, and we always thought, I always thought, well, what I might lack in knowledge, I'll make up by making them laugh. And it was always my sort of remit that I would make the manager laugh before I went, and that way they would remember me. So that kind of paid off for me. So I'd always be the sort of
bit of personality to
and I was the
cold
only
newsroom.
woman there. There was No, well, there was another girl who worked for... There was two channels. There was Liverpool Live and there was Liverpool One, I think it was called, and that was affiliated with the Echo. So there was me and another girl, Claire Gray, and I never knew what happened to her, but we were the only two girls there. I mean, there's girls everywhere in football now, and you see them all the time.
It's great, yeah.
But not then. It was really unusual.
Absolutely. Well, Claire, if you're watching,
yes,
hello,
Claire
get in
Gray,
touch.
you were
Love to know what
fabulous.
happened.
Yeah.
Maybe might still be in journalism.
She was a good
who knows?
Evertonian as well.
Just to give those for those who weren't around, don't remember the kind of the tabloid TV kind of times. Could you give us a few examples of the things that were on television back then? A few of the shows, maybe.
Well, if you're not familiar with live TV, you would not know about. We had a news bunny, so it was a huge rabbit about 8 foot, and that used to dance around doing like the faces to go with the news story. So news bunny was really annoying. But we had topless darts. We had a trampolining dwarf reading the weather.
That was my favourite one that I came across. Yeah, that was.
There was loads of them, and and they would try it, and sometimes it didn't work out, and sometimes they'd try something else, and then they'd say, well, "Try this one." And so it was just to get people talking, really. So it was really good fun.
It does seem like the kind of. A dream show for the You've Been Framed kind of, when you look back at what went wrong on live TV, that kind of show is like you've got 24 hours of trampolining dwarves and bunny rabbits reading the news. Like, I feel like that's how on earth it didn't stand the test of time. I have no idea.
I mean, it was cutting edge at the time. I mean, it was fantastic. But it died a sad death after 2 years. So there you go.
So is that where your obviously, you say your professional career with Everton kind of started then, in terms of obviously the connection with the interview with Howard Kendall. But I've seen you sent me that video clip of your show reel, which I loved. It was absolutely brilliant. I'd never seen it before. So give us an idea of what. Yeah, I mean, you've already mentioned it was a bit of a brazen kind of bit of personality. You managed to interview far more players, didn't you? And
yes,
and that was your regular slot then, wasn't it?
And then I was out voxing people in the streets, and we had a presenter was a guy called Stuart Silvers, who still is in the game now, and I would go out and we'd bring the packages back, and they would be edited into the show, and had a really it was just fun, you could do anything, and sometimes they would say, listen, you can't broadcast that, it's too much. But the players loved it, and the managers loved it, because it was just specific and that sort of thing, and it was just good fun. It was harmless fun.
You ring that bell.
Because I was just looking at your CV there. You've got quite an impressive CV, but I think you must have some sadomasochistic tendencies to be going to Everton.
Well, you might have. There's a challenge here, as there is at every club.
What was Big Duncan's wedding like on Friday?
It was wonderful.
Was it?
It was wonderful. It was very, very dignified in the cathedral.
Now, you're from Hartlepool. Does this make you a monkey hanger?
No, I'm not from Hartlepool. I just played for them. How do you know about that?
You've been a bit of a bad boy. What's going on there?
I don't know. No, I'm not a bad boy, but I play a little aggressive, but no bad boy.
You've got a reputation as a bit of disciplinarian. Have you asked Mikel Modar to cut his hair yet?
No, not quite.
And it's your birthday tomorrow. How old are you going to be?
Do you know how old I'm going to be? I'm about 5 years younger than you.
These are Big Dunk's feet. These are Robbie Fowler's feet. And these are Stan Collymore's feet. So it's not true what they say.
When you fall in love.
When live TV kind of came to an end, it ceased to be on air, didn't it? The channel shut down. But that led to you writing your first book. I believe you did. I read somewhere that you put your funding, your payment into
redundancy money.
That's the word I was looking for. Your redundancy money went into a computer, didn't it?
Yes, it was dead expensive then as well, and it was
to keep writing.
To dial up. Well, the internet had just really started. It wasn't even the internet; it was the World Wide Web then.
Yeah.
And we had I bought a computer with my money, and then I got onto, there was not even websites, there was just mailing lists, and that was when I met your dad.
Yeah.
So those Evertonians supplied all the questions for my first book, and all I was trying to do really was just write. All I wanted to do was be a writer. And I would ask anyone, can I write your book? Let me write your book. I'll write your book. I was like, Yozza, honest to God. Just give it to Howard, let me write your book. And then he would say, well, you know, we'll go out and for lunch and we'll talk about that. And then after a few, I thought, I don't need to write it. I'll write my own book.
Yeah.
So I I was interviewing Graham Sharp. He started it. I used to write occasionally for 442 magazine. And they said, could you ask Graham Sharp about his role as a fans liaison officer, which was a new thing then. And I went on our mailing list, and I said, I'm interviewing Graham Sharp. And at that time, we were sponsored by 1-to-1. Yeah. And their advertising campaign said, if you could have a 1-to-1 with John Lennon, what would you ask him? Or Nelson Mandela or whatever. Yeah. So I said, if you could have a 1-to-1 with Graham Sharp, what would you ask him? And then, of course, all the old fellas got back and said, I'd ask him about the goal at Anfield, ask him about this, ask him how his name's been misspelt so many times, all of that. So I interviewed him and then I said, could I ask these questions? And then I typed up the answers and I posted them on the mailing list. And all the guys on the mailing list said, oh, it was brilliant, do it again, do it again.
Yeah.
So that actually then became the first chapter of my first book.
Which is Talking Blue, which
Talking
you've got
Blue.
just over your left shoulder there. So anyone who's looking to pick one up,
That's
you know, that's the one
edition.
to look for. First edition.
Yeah.
And to give people an idea of the book, if you haven't already made it very clear there, I've just got a section of the blurb written here for you. So as you say, you know, you've asked everybody for the questions, and some of them are very, as you'd expect. So we start by saying, how much did Alex Young earn when he arrived at Goodison Park? And what went through Sheedy's mind when he flicked the V's to the cop? More importantly, does Andy Gray sound like Marge Simpson when he sings? And can Duncan McKenzie still jump over a mini? And does Paul Bracewell ever wish he'd been chosen for a shampoo commercial? All those nagging questions which have bothered you for years are answered right here and now in the most candid and forthright collection of interviews given by the Royal Blue heroes of past and present. Talking Blue cuts straight to the chase with the questions submitted by disenfranchised Evertonians via the World Wide Web and asked by the only woman with the temerity to do so, Becky Tallentire. Right. So there you go. I feel like if you're looking for something a little bit different, it cut through everything else. Didn't it? All these professional, the amount of authors that we know and really professional and
yes.
not that you're unprofessional by any means, but you know, something a little different is what I mean. You know?
Yes, and it was just because when you interview somebody, you kind of have generic questions, you know, and I see them now when they interview and I hate it. They stop the players after the match and they stick a microphone in front of the face and they say, well, how did that feel when you scored? And I just think, stop asking stupid questions. Do you know, how do you think? And the guy's thinking, I just want to go and have a shower, you know, and he's going, well, it felt great and it was a team there. So
cliche after cliche.
And you feel sorry for them. I do. I think just leave them alone. Do you know?
Absolutely.
And but they were specific questions, so they were really specific. As a fan who was there would say, and I thought I had all this information at my fingertips, all these questions. It was a gold mine. Yeah. So you know, to ask those, and then all the players said, "Oh, I loved that. Will you do it for my mate?" Yeah. And I said to Howard, whose numbers have you got? And he said, I've got Sheedy and I've got Big Nev and all. So Howard Kendall gave me a number, so that was how they all just said,
my next question was going to be, is that if anyone stands out to you, whether there was any of those particular interviews that like you enjoyed talking to one particular person, or maybe that they enjoyed talking to you. I don't know.
Well, every time I did it was the same with all my books. Every time I wrote a chapter, I thought, because I would write it and I would transcribe it and then I would fiddle it around and every time I did one I thought, this is the best, it's not going to get any better than this. Oh my God, I've peaked too soon. But of course they were all equally good, you know. I can remember one time my phone rang, big old phone at Goodison, and I picked the phone up and I looked and it was Alex Young and he was phoning me and I thought, God, there's 40,000 people here who wouldn't believe that he was phoning me here. And he phoned up and he said, oh, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed doing the interview. So it was so lovely. They all loved it, you know, because it was funny and kind and specific, and they loved it. And of course, they had such recall.
Yeah.
They could remember that. They could remember the event, the day, the goal. It was incredible.
That's brilliant. Of all the names you could have come out with there, like, you know.
Oh, he was so lovely. He was so kind. Yeah.
Superb. I mean, there's, just to give another quote there, there's a really lovely foreword as well by Howard Kendall, in which he says, I've dealt with a lot of journalists in my time, but as a reporter, Becky stood out amongst the crowd with a relaxed and unique style. She has a great talent of putting people at ease, and I could guarantee that her questions would be searching, well-researched and honest. I respect Becky on a personal level because she always does her homework and never fails to make me laugh. So I take it you and Howard had a really good personal relationship as well.
Yeah, we were really good friends, and he did that, and he came to my book launch as well.
Oh, yeah.
And he came, Dave Hickson, Brian LeBone, I can't remember now. Oh, Thomas Myra, obscure, I know. So they all came. What can I say?
I can understand why he was bottom of that list there, to be fair, like, obscure. No, well, again, no disrespect to Thomas Myra, but yeah.
He came, and my mum was saying, oh, he's nice, Beck, he's nice and tall. But I think he was injured, so I think he was contractually obliged to do something like that. Anyway, bless him, he came, and it was really nice. I invited, 10 people or something to the launch, and it was
Where
really
did you do
lovely.
it? Was it in Liverpool?
It was in Goodison.
Oh, brilliant.
It was in maybe the Dixie Dean Lounge.
One of the lounges.
Yeah. It was nice.
Nice. Well, as it was such a success, Talking Blue, that you did a sequel as well. Still Talking Blue, that carried on.
Well, when you write a book, they give you a word count, and they say it's about 60,000 words. I can't remember now. Well, I'd done extra. So I'd already started the next book, really.
So you had to cut the first one down?
So I thought, and then people got back to me and it was too late, and I thought, I can't let this go. So I just thought, well, I might as well I've already done like an eighth of my next book, so I might as well just do more, which I did. And by that time, I was knocking around with David France.
Of course.
And he had started the Former Players Foundation, as you well know. And so then I knew all the other players who had, slipped through the net. So Gordon West and, I'm just trying to think of who the older players were in that. Can't remember. Anyway, but I met them through the Former Players Foundation. Oh, it's here. Here it is.
There you go, you see. Come prepared. I'm sure it's in the contents.
Look. It'll be right there.
Yeah, in that one.
Dave Hickson, yeah. Mick Lyons.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, Bobby Latchford.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen him at one of the Former Players dinners, and he'd never been on the circuit before. He was nursing his wife.
Right.
And he nursed his wife until she'd died, and then he came back on the scene, really. And I went up to him on the top table, and I sat next to him, and I said, listen, I'm going to write a book. Will you be in it? If you'll be in it, I'll put you on the cover. And he said, yeah. He came to my flat.
Did you really?
So, yeah, my cat was sitting on his knee. I was like that. So, yeah, Bobby Latchford in my flat. So it was lovely. They came and they all were up for it and they all loved it. And it was really nice, yeah.
That's brilliant. I mean, in terms of the second book, it was Latchford that I picked out, actually. Because one particular question where you'd asked him whether he'd ever tried the Hafnia pork luncheon meats before asking Barry Horn if he still eats his crusts. So there were some good highlights in that one. As I say, both of them worth picking up.
Yeah.
To be honest, you can pick them up in here. Come into the Heritage Centre. We've got some on the
They're
shelves.
all out of print. I mean, these are all quarter of a century old now, but I see them. I buy them sometimes, like J.R. Hartley. I have my own book.
Well, I'm sorry that it's taken me 25 years to promote them for you.
Oh, well, it's nice. Anyway, they're lovely. They're great books.
So, come and find them in the Heritage Centre. If Becky hasn't already taken them all home with her.
I feel sorry for them.
If we're going chronologically, between those two books is the one that sits on the table here. You co-wrote the book on the Holy Trinity. Alongside Dr. David France, as you just mentioned, which again contains countless interviews with Everton legends, giants, and fans alike as well. All about the iconic Kendall, Harvey, and Ball. That must have been an enjoyable process as well for you. Could you give us a bit of insight there into what the players were like on a personal level, I suppose?
Well, of course, David was still living in America then, and he used to send me an email and he'd say, phone this person and this is here and here. and I would have to phone them. Some were more difficult than others, you know, and I would say I was phoning on behalf of the Former Players Foundation, and did they have a comment to make? But we also went through all of my books, old books, and gleaned information from them and put that in and everything. David is a genius at writing books, and he gets it all in his mind. He's got one of those minds where he can, you know, he sees everything, he plans it meticulously, and this is where it's going to be. And when the book came to me, it was already in chapters, and, you know, and then they just needed to be filled. But that was how many pages it was going to be. This is how much space everybody had, and that's how he works. So it's very disciplined, but it was fantastic. It was really nice. I just remembered that Alan Ball, of course, was in my my first book, and he's the first chapter in there. And when I went to Goodison, I see lots of his quotes from my book around once Everton has touched you and all that.
Exactly.
And that's in the museum now.
Exactly. I mean, that was, I was going to kind of come round to that.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most significant things about your back catalogue is these particular quotes that are so iconic and so like, I don't know, they roll off the tongue of every Evertonian now. You know, as you say, they're up around Goodison Park, and I'm sure there'll be some here as well. The Hill Dickinson.
I hope so.
They've painted a few up. I know there's some poetry up on the walls in there, so they must put a few good quotes. But they came from you. You know, they were prompted by yourself. So got to deserve.
And I still have the recordings of them. So when I made that book, when I wrote the book, I began with a what's that little tiny thing called? A dictaphone, tiny little cassette.
Yeah.
And then we moved on, and I ended up with a mini disc, which was cutting edge, and you could tape over the mini discs. Yeah. But of course, I did all my interviews, and I thought I can't tape over like Alan Ball, so I kept everything. So I've got all of those still, and of course they're so poignant now because those guys are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, and I can hear their voices, and I've had them digitized now, so they're on my clockwork laptop, so I can, you know, use them and send them around and whatever.
I'll get round to this in a minute. I'm kind of going chronologically here, but no need to apologise. But I was just thinking that you've used them in your podcast, haven't you? You've just started this podcast with Steve Dickinson.
Yes.
And where you can actually hear some of these original quotes. So
it's fantastic. Yes. So the first one was Alex Young.
Yeah.
But we've done it with Alex and of course his wife Nancy, so I had both of their voices. So it's really lovely to hear them. It makes you choke up a bit, you know.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Really
I've listened to the podcasts. I think they're brilliant, and that's exactly it. It does really get you.
Goodison Park to me is this seems to be a magical place. It's like when you go into certain houses or that where the great ghosts have been. It seems to be like that. It was something that's there that made me feel I could feel the back of my neck tingling now and again when I would go onto the pitch to play for Everton, even when the pitch was empty. Just something about the place that I liked, and it's still the same when I go down. That feeling is still there. Big home matches, especially when I went on, you could feel the vibes. I could feel it from the fans. And I love playing at Goodison, and that's why the majority of the games, when I really turned it on at Goodison. Just something about the place. I could feel the goodwill coming from the fans. I felt it. We were down in February for the millennium thing, the 60s thing, which I got a presentation about. I could feel it then. My wife came on the part with me, and she said it was her millennium. She said that was the greatest thrill she's ever had, going on the pitch with 40,000 crowd and everybody. She could feel the vibes. Just for me, magical place, best place I've ever played football, and I'll never forget it.
I didn't know those recordings existed, really.
No.
Because to be honest with you, I didn't know where most of them had come from. And I suppose you kind of think that a lot of the older quotes come from newspaper cuttings or post-match interviews or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But they're recorded by yourself.
Right.
The audio exists, so
if
I can get a copy off you for some of those things, that'd be
I've
nice.
sent them
push
to,
me luck a bit, you know.
Yeah. Well, when I went to Gordon Lee's wife died, and I met his daughter. I really liked Gordon Lee as well, and his daughter. I said, I have a recording of your mum. And I sent it to her, and she said, "Oh, it took her weeks to even be able to listen to it, but you know, it's so precious. So it's nice to have those."
And that kind of takes us on quite nicely to your next book, which was the one again over your left shoulder there, which is Real Footballers' Wives.
Favourite.
It's my favourite as well.
Is it?
I've got to say,
yeah.
In which you chat to the partners of Everton's most iconic players, don't you? Could you tell us how that came about? Because I believe the big influence was Nancy Young.
Nancy Young, my lovely Nancy. Well, when I used to do the dinners and the huge big things, and you'll remember because you were about 3, but you were there on the stage. That was when I met you.
I was 9, but yeah,
Best.
close enough. Yeah,
I
close
still
enough.
think you're 9. I still
the same
can't
size,
believe you've got a beard and everything. When those dinners used to come, the players, as you know, David France would invite as many players as he could, 50 or 60 or 80 or whatever. Yeah. And, of course, there was something for everybody. And they would say, often, "Can my wife come?" And David would say, "Of course she can come." And then there would be, like, back by the toilets, there would be a table for the wives. Yeah. Well, of course, I would sit with the wives, and I would invariably sit next to Nancy. And we became friends. And in those days, people used to phone each other, you know, on the telephone. And she used to phone me and ask how I was. And I thought one night, I bet she couldn't got married on a Saturday. Bet she couldn't get married on a Saturday. And I thought, and then I was thinking, I bet she couldn't go on a honeymoon. And so on and so on. And I thought, do you know what? Everything about Alex everything is written down, everything. Nothing is about her. Nobody even knows her name. So I thought, when she's gone, those stories are gone forever. So I thought, I'll write 10 questions. I'll ask her. I'll phone her tomorrow morning. I'll ask her the questions. I'll type up the answers and I'll send it to her. And so I did that. And I said, you know, what about your children? And you know, they had to be born in Scotland in case they were boys and they could play for Scotland. In those days, it was much stricter. And I thought, God, all of these questions, where did you meet him? Where on earth did you meet the Golden Vision? And so I wrote all these down and I phoned her and she told me, and she said, "Oh, I'd love to do that." And I typed them up, sent it to her. Didn't even have email then. I had to print it off and send it. And she phoned me back and said, "I absolutely love this. My friend Norma Vernon would love you to do this. Would you do it with her?" Well, of course, that's Roy Vernon's widow. And that was how that began. And again, everyone, I thought, it won't get any better than this. This is the best. This is the best. And I would, of course, when I phoned the men to track them down to interview them, obviously the wives would answer the phone and I would remember their names. I would write their name down, write their children's names down. And when I phoned back, I would say, Joe Royal's wife, "Oh, Janet, how are you doing? Do you remember I spoke to you?" Blah, blah.
Yeah, a little more personal.
This is what I'm doing. And of course they said, "Oh, I'd love that," because nobody had ever asked them.
And they should, you know, it had to be. It's a poignant piece of work, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
I think there's a lot to be said for women's sport now and women in football now, and obviously, and to be honest, more around the time of the release of the book, the wives and girlfriends, and it was all, you know, the glamour and posh spice, and the focus was beginning to turn on, or the spotlight was looking at the wives and girlfriends, not necessarily for a positive reason,
No,
not
that's
always
right.
for a positive reason. Of course, not always negative, but it felt so poignant to go back and go, yeah, but there's a certain kind of era of football that we've kind of lost in that, you know, to look at the gentleman who would always walk the streets wearing a suit and you know, and turn up to the game in the shirt and tie and stuff, which is all gone now. But same thing with the wives and the women, and so many people, so many strong individuals who are kind of behind their careers and enabled
so
their careers
as well. Really young. I mean, you look at John Hurst's wife Rosemary. I think they met when they were 14 or 15 at school, and then they were married. I think she might have been 18 when she came here. Well, I mean, you know, you wouldn't let somebody go to the shop on their own when they're 18 now, would you? But she was then in a strange city, and you know, it was really hard. And babies, and you know, I couldn't drive. They were stuck out in Maghull somewhere, you know, and they were like
deserve a lot more credit than
absolutely
was going their way. I think. As you say, many of those women are sadly no longer with us. Many of their husbands aren't either. I was honoured enough to meet Maureen Temple last year, so just before she passed away. We did an interview with Derek at his house. It was lovely for her to welcome us in and chat to her and talk to her about the pictures on the walls. And they went through photo albums and things, which was really nice. But you talked to 18 wives of Everton stars, and you ended your book on the chapter with Dolly Sagar. Was born in 1909. That's right. So, of course, wife of Ted Sagar. Yeah. And she tells stories of one of the greatest days of her life, which was going to the 1933 Cup final at Wembley. That's right. While still pregnant. Yes. And I shouldn't go, but the doctor says, okay, I'll come with you. And
that's right.
I just must have been such a joy listening to kind of like first-hand Everton stories that over decades that literally span an entire century. Think about it now.
Incredible. I found Dolly. She was in a nursing home in Ormskirk, and I tracked her down. I can't remember. Maybe Darren Griffiths helped me out. And I went to the nursing home and I spoke to the matron and I said to her, you know, this is who I am. This is what I wanted to do. I would be happy to speak to her kids and tell them, and you know, whether she would be up for it and what I'm doing and whatever. And the matron said to me, her kids are 80. Because she was nearly 100 then. Yeah. So I think her eldest son, little Ted, he was like, I don't know, 79 or something like that. She was 100 and odd.
And she must have been still pretty coherent, because the stories are all there.
She was, and of course she said, where did you live? And she remembered the address, and she was really sharp, you know. Really scouse, and just great stories. She was brought up in the streets around Goodison Park and was, you know, under the turnstile as this big, sitting on the edge of the pitch watching them play. Amazing. So it's incredible, really.
She strikes me as a bit of a, like the kids would say now, like a typical Scouse nan.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Scouse nan for sure.
Fits the bill. You have, of course, like since then you've kept writing all of your life. So if I were to point now at your Substack page, there's not been any. There was one more book, wasn't there? The Little Book of Everton.
Oh yes, the Little Book of Quote. Yes,
the little one.
That's now morphed into something much bigger. So yeah, it was nice when it was a little cute thing, but it's got all kinds of weird quotes. They update them every so often. Okay. And they're not updated by me anymore. They're updated by somebody in London, so they're never as good as when I did it.
Exactly. Well, I remember the little one. That's the original.
Yes, that was a good one.
But like I say, if I were to point out your Substack page, because you're still writing like freelance, and if we're going to focus on any of your the freelance writing, I think it's only fitting to look at one of the more recent ones, the piece that you wrote on the last day at Goodison, which I know is a personal favourite of yours.
It is. It's the favourite thing I've ever written.
I think I'm not surprised. It must have just been for the sake of remembering it, because you were lucky enough to experience that day from pitch side.
I know. It's
must
amazing,
have been absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal.
I turned round and looked over my shoulder like that, and Wayne Rooney was sitting behind me. I was like that.
Yeah.
I said, come here, take a photo. Anyway, I ended up with about 14 chins. He looked dead handsome. I've never shown anybody the photo.
I don't know how you've made him look handsome. Like,
he's beautiful. Do you know what? He's got such a presence.
Work.
Such a presence about him. He really, really has. I like him.
Surprised me,
I know loads of stories about Wayne Rooney. Make your hair curl.
All right. Well, I'll have to invite you back.
Well,
again.
just
let's go on a tangent now. Then let's make this a Wayne Rooney podcast.
Well, you know, just the way that he conducts himself and where he's come from. Yeah. I used to work in a prison, and I know lads in that prison who grew up with Wayne Rooney. Yeah. So everything Wayne Rooney did, you know, I doff my cap to him, because the temptations to do other things must have been great.
And he's come through it as well.
And look at him.
You mentioned in that article there. Another credit to you. I thought that again, another thing that I hadn't realised, but it was you interviewed Wayne the day after that goal.
Well, I didn't interview him. I was commissioned.
Okay.
I'd started writing for 442, and can I write anything for you? No, I write. And they got in touch and they said, do you know this kid who scored yesterday, Wayne Rooney? So I said, yeah. Of course, didn't.
Yeah.
I know him. Yeah. He said, well, listen, you can have the cover story for next month.
The cover story on Wayne Rooney's first goal.
Oh my God. So I said, yeah, I can do that. And I put the phone down and my heart was beating so loud, I couldn't even hear him on the other end of the phone. And I kept thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Everyone's going to read this. It better be good. I was really panic-stricken. But I went back onto that mailing list, and there was people who knew him, knew his parents, and they said, oh, he'd done this and he'd done that. And I spoke to a few people. Darren Griffiths, I spoke to Colin Harvey, who knew him coming through the ranks. Steve, yeah. And, of course, all pieced it all together, and that was the first article ever about Wayne Rooney.
Brilliant.
It's amazing. Yeah. When I'd written this book, Mick Lyons had gone to school, the same school as him. And I said to him, oh, lots of players had been to your school, and I named them. And he said, oh, there's a kid coming through now, his name's Rooney. He's absolutely brilliant, just you watch how brilliant he is. And he went on and on and on, and he wrote it in the book. I sent it to Mick Lyons, and he came back and he said, you've gone a bit over the top there with the Rooney thing, just say he's good.
Yeah.
And I said, all right then. We didn't even know his first name.
Yeah.
I phoned the school and I said, is there a kid there called Rooney? And they went, why? And I said, oh, right. And they said, okay, we can't give that information out. So we didn't even know his name.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how...
Do you know what I've got? I've just remembered a really random kind of connection with myself. We actually knew Rooney. I think it was his uncle. Was it his uncle? Who was it? Yeah, uncle. He cleaned the bins. He was a bin cleaner.
Wow.
Around our estate. And you know when you get to know somebody around the area. And I'd remember him telling my dad and my mum about, oh, my nephew Wayne, he's in the under-10s, he's in the under-12s, he's in the under... And I just remember my mum saying, oh yeah, my Lewis is a great player as well, you know, he scores loads of goals and all that. So I, let that be on record. I've been compared to Wayne Rooney.
That's right.
And then I was there on that day. We went, I think this is risk of going off on real tangents here, aren't we? But we went to see Everton play Wrexham with another family friend, and it was 0-0, 10 minutes to go, and we'd said, wait, he's a Wrexham fan. We were like, look, there's this kid on the bench. We've heard
7 for the boy.
We've heard of him. You know, he's me bin man's nephew.
Yeah.
And he's like, right, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, 10 minutes to go, he comes on, scores a couple.
Of course he did.
And then the following week was the Arsenal game, and I was there for that as well. And remember the name and all that.
Yeah.
Like I remember, we stayed.
Crazy,
we all stayed after full time, and
dancing.
It was unbelievable, because that was a great Arsenal team as well, wasn't it? But
yeah. Had they been unbeaten that season?
Everyone remembers Man United beating them and going, oh, they're the ones that ended the unbeaten.
Whatever.
No, it was us. It was us. It was that game, the Invincibles.
Yeah.
We're getting off topic here. You were on the pitch, Goodison, last day.
I was.
Must have been great.
It was really great. It was really emotional. It's making me choke up now thinking about it. And I looked around and I thought, I'm going to remember this forever. And I was looking around, I looked at everybody and I made sure I could remember it forever. Because I miss it. I really miss Goodison Park. I just miss the whole thing. Yeah. And I love it here. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous. But I still miss Goodison Park, and I'll always miss Goodison Park.
Yeah, me too.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, you're not alone.
I soaked it all in, and then, I was waiting, and all the people were around, they were chatting to each other, and people were crying and waving the flag. It was absolutely special, wasn't it? It was so beautiful.
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't actually in the stadium on the last day, but I was outside.
Oh, were you?
I was one of those that couldn't get a ticket on the last day
tough,
for love nor money. It was impossible. And so I brought some friends with me, and we were like, we'll party on the streets. We were outside Goodison for I think 12 hours or something like that. It was superb. So we heard everything.
Yeah.
But I had the experience you had at the Ipswich game the previous week, where that was the last game with the 1878 did all the display, and the ticker tape fell, and it was how everyone was like, would get your phone out and I want to record this moment as the big poignant. I couldn't do it. I just left my phone in my pocket and I stood there. I was on my own and I just cried. It was spectacular.
It was really emotional, wasn't it?
So to have been there. I mean, you got the full day, didn't you? You had you were
breakfast.
You were with
Titanic.
the players, and with the legends and heroes, and seeing that.
It was amazing. And I got on the coach and went past from the Titanic up to there, and it was supposed to do that coach welcome down past the Holy Trinity.
Supposed to go down Goodison
Couldn't even
Road,
get down Goodison Road. Had
well,
to
we
go
were all
past
waiting for you.
Anfield. Oh, I know.
No chance.
And everyone was there, and they were all. They said we can't get that way. We've got to go round past Anfield. Well, of course, everyone started booing when they got past Anfield. It was led by it was led by who was booing? Derek. I think Derek Mountfield.
He said Mountfield in the article.
He's always up for a bit of booing. Yeah. It was absolutely brilliant.
Draw the curtains.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, there was someone next to me in the crowd, going, "Oh, why are they going the other way?" was like, look around you.
Yeah,
Like, you get the bus through
and
here.
even
Can't
then
walk
they
through
couldn't
it.
get through. We had to stop and then sort of stagger through, and
Yeah.
everyone was there and wanting to hug Tim Cahill. I mean, he must have had cracked ribs by the end of the day. Everyone wanted to hug him and selfies with him and everything, and he was there, and Rooney came and they were all cheering his name. It was absolutely special. It was right in the middle of that, and I just thought, God, it's fantastic. I had to lead them through, I don't even know, a car park and somewhere else, and through all these locked gates, and it was incredible. And then before the end of the game, they came and collected all the players, all went downstairs while everything was sorted out on the pitch. Well, that was the first time the players got to see each other. Of course, I was taking photos of everybody. And I knew lots of those people anyway, the guys, you know. Of course. And so I would see them and I would chat to them and taking pictures, and it was just because it was really sort of in like a holding pen. Yeah. And it was dead sunny and it was gorgeous.
Perfect weather, wasn't it?
Absolutely
That
perfect.
little. I've seen your pictures. So that be in the little, the bit between the park end and the main stand.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the
in that
mural
little
is.
corner there.
And
Yes.
taking a picture of Latchford with himself on the wall. And
I did.
Yeah,
Big
that
Bob.
looked
Yeah.
lovely. You're the the
I've
envy
got
of
loads
so
of
many
those pictures.
Evertonians.
Yeah, I'll send you my pictures. I've got loads of them.
Yeah.
Loads. Really nice.
I bet. Good job. We're on digital these days
Yeah,
and just keep
yeah.
tapping away. Like, it must have been
Brilliant.
absolutely
Yeah.
unbelievable. So to bring us up to date, then you've got the podcast, as we mentioned earlier, with these brilliant quotes and these lovely stories. So give us a bit of a background on it. What's it called? First of all, we're on.
It's called Deep Dive. I think it should be called Deep Blue Dive. I'm working on that.
Okay.
But anyway,
and that's on the Blue Room, isn't it?
We're on the Blue Room platform.
Yeah.
So they really kindly put us on there, which is fantastic because they already have an established audience. So Steve Dickinson has written the book, The Unofficial Everton Timeline, the Mashiri Years. Yeah. And he wrote that with Lyndon Lloyd, who's now of Evertonia.
And he was, to tie that up, it was Toffee Web as well, wasn't
That's
it? Toffee
right.
going all the way back to the beginning with the
started.
Still Talk, Talking Blue.
Talking Blue. And he now has branched off and has Evertonia. And him and Steve wrote the unofficial timeline of the Mashiri Years. And he got in touch with me and he said, would I be interested in doing a podcast? And I said, you know what, I'd made a promise to myself, any opportunity that comes along, I'm going to take it now because, nothing. I'll say yes to everything. Anything you ask me, I'll do it. So I said, yeah, let's do it. Let's do a podcast. So that was what we did. So he said he's quite techie, I'm not. He has some software and he can do this and we take texts from books and other authors and that, mix them all up and put quotes in, and then we edit it and add our own stuff. So it's like having a full-time job, really.
Yeah.
But it is really fabulous. And of course, we don't get to hear them until they're broadcast. And there's a guy there, Dave Downey, he edits them nicely and puts them out there. And they're just really lovely. So, of course, that started me seeing those wives again, and I went out with Pat LeBone, and she took us out for lunch because she was so thrilled. We did a great Brian LeBone one, and I've got Jamie Yates from the Heritage Society. He finds all kinds of trivia for us in his archive.
Top researcher.
Really fantastic. So love doing them. Steve's away for 3 months, but when he comes back, I think we're going to do them again.
Yeah, we definitely need more of them because, like I say, I went back and listened to a few. I listened to them anyway, and I've gone back and checked a couple more out while I was obviously knowing that you were coming in today. So, but I just really enjoyed it. I found myself. Do you know what? I found myself like listening to them and then forgetting that I was having to like make notes and stuff.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? I was
right,
like, you're just getting carried away with it. Oh, this is great. But like you said, I think the real beautiful part of it is the fact that you've got these recordings.
Yes, they're lovely, aren't they?
They're really great jumping off points, and even if the recording itself isn't necessarily the topic of conversation, it really breaks things up nicely, and just you've got the voices of legends amongst your own, and it's just I'd highly recommended listening for all Evertonians.
He does all the hard work. I just talk, as you see. That's my fingers talking, but he does all.
Yeah, welcome to the world of podcasts.
All the graft he does it. So shout out to Big Steve. It's fantastic.
It is fantastic. I'll make sure I put all the links and stuff in the
Brilliant.
wherever this goes.
Yeah.
We'll put all the links with it and stuff. Make sure
Good.
Substack as well. Got to get some extra followers, haven't we?
Yeah, that'd be nice. A like would be nice.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
So I might be wrong on this. I'm not entirely sure if I'm right. So, but currently, any current work going on? Am I right in thinking you're writing the memoirs of Tony Kay?
Yes. Well, I say yes.
Maybe.
I have been... Tony Kay can't really remember very much, so I thought we might just do a great podcast with him instead. I've been meaning to write his book for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And he always says, I can't remember. So he can't really remember much. And his football career was tiny. I mean, Tony's 89 now. So his career was only that much of his life. So there's a lot more than football, really. So I thought, I don't know, maybe I'll do it. It takes ages to write a book, doesn't it?
I wouldn't know.
No, it just takes so long.
How is he?
It takes ages, doesn't it? Tony's well. He's
yeah,
well.
I say I wouldn't know. I hear it all from my dad constantly. You know,
it is a job, isn't it? It goes on forever.
Never ends.
It takes like a year. So yeah.
Have you finished yours yet? Okay, that's a no for those who couldn't hear that.
Yeah.
How is Tony? Is he
Tony's
all right?
well. He's very well.
I'm sure people ask all the time.
He's well. He's still loving football.
Good.
Following Sheffield Wednesday, following Everton. He's a bit of an Arsenal fan on the quiet. Don't tell anyone. His son is an Arsenal. When he was down in London, he used to play for the Arsenal All-Stars. Okay. So he played with all the EastEnders and all that.
Right.
And he was like their secret weapon. So, and he was about 60 then, so he was still, the hardest man in football. So he's fine. He's got 2 new knees, courtesy of the Former Players Foundation. Yeah. And he's well. He's good. He's a bit doddery, but he's all right. He couldn't run down the wing anymore, but he's all right.
I'm sure he could still do better than I could, to be honest with you. Well, it's been great. I've really enjoyed this. Thanks very much for coming in. I've just got a few quick fire questions to finish on there. Favourite player?
Now?
Ever?
Oh, ever?
And now?
Well, now I really like Tarkowski now. I think he's great. I think he's solid. I like him. I don't know. Don't go to the match that much now, so I don't really know. Favourite player ever? I don't know. Surely it's got to be Alex Young. I've never even seen him play, but he's still my favourite.
Yeah, you got all the stories.
Yeah,
at least.
I love him.
If you could interview a current player, who would it be? Would it be Tarkowski?
Oh, probably. Yeah. I think. I don't know. I always say I only deal in nostalgia because I'm not an avid fan. I'm not here every week. I watch on the telly, and I just like the olden days.
Maybe Seamus is the one you need then.
Maybe, yeah.
He was around in the olden days. He's probably the closest we've got
senior,
to the past.
Isn't he? Yeah.
If you, I just said that one. What was your favourite TV moment? Did you have for yourself and being involved in? Did you have a particular moment from those TV days that was like?
What when I just
yeah, for yourself, not just sitting at home watching, like being involved.
I loved going to the signings. I remember going to Walter Smith's when he first came and on the pitch with him and interviewing him, and I loved doing that. I loved that whole thing. I used to go to Anfield as well. I used to go and see Roy Evans was the manager then. So it was all fantastic. I was only there a really short time, 2 years, but it was all glorious. Yeah, probably Howard, because that started it all, really.
Yeah, that's a special moment.
Yeah.
I was going to say the last one would be, what was your favourite interview? Is that the one?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Because it was the first one, and it just started so much happening, really, because then I found my niche then, and I thought, this is my people, this is my tribe, and this is where I belong, and I really felt that. And I used to get the train to Bank Hall and walk all the way up to Goodison, and it was like that. You won't even remember it because you're only 7, but that Vindaloo, and they were all marching along and gathering more people, and I used to feel like that walking up, because I always went on my own to the match. And that whole thing, and I used to think that this is where I belong. This is my tribe, and it was lovely. And I always felt like that, and I still always feel like that.
Brilliant.
Everywhere you go, you see a toffee, don't you?
Yeah.
See them with the Chris. I saw one in the airport the other week in Seville with his Everton top on. I was like, the toffees.
Exactly, you do, don't you?
Yeah,
You've got to make a point.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you very much. You missed the opportunity there, by the way, with your favourite interview to say this one. Thanks very much.
Oh, well, this one? Oh, obviously, yeah.
No, I'm totally joking.
I just want to say here that you and I met when you were very young.
Yeah.
Because you came on the stage at the Adelphi at one of the dinners to hand out the awards. Do you get to polish the FA Cup and everything?
Oh, it was the best day of my life. Do you know what? It's not come up yet on these podcasts.
Really?
No, but it was the 2001 Gwladys Street Hall of Fame Gala, which coincided with the release of the Holy Trinity
was that
book.
Right? Yeah. That's right.
As I mentioned to you before we started recording, which you've signed to me when I was 9, so that was lovely. But yeah, I was on stage handing out the awards, as you say. My job was I was like a mascot basically in the Adelphi, and as anyone who was at those events or remembers them or has heard of them, like they were raucous nights when they chaos. So there's little 9-year-old me in my full kit, 700, 800 drunk blues, singing their heads off and cheering absolutely every name that was mentioned. And I was on stage with Howard Kendall, and I would hand the trophy to Howard, and then Howard would present it to the award winner. And all night he had his arm around me, like looking after me, like he's
kind.
Really just a lovely man. And then about halfway through the event, he just pushed me forward and he went, "Oh yeah, you do it." And so he said, instead of me giving him the awards to him, I was giving the awards directly, which was really special. Some really, poignant moments for me. And to be honest, looking back as well, I'd become more poignant recently. My favourite player at the time was Kevin Campbell. And of course, we've recently lost. It was so sad. But that night, I was the one who handed him that season's player of the season.
Oh, I remember him being there. I remember seeing him. He was so handsome. Beautiful suit on. I thought, who is that? He was so gorgeous, handsome guy, and that's Super Kev. He was a unit as well, wasn't he?
He was brilliant. Of course, he'd come in and just scored all those goals, scored against just a hero for a little kid, But yeah, finding it recently as well. There's a great photo. My dad took a great photograph of Kevin holding that trophy up. He probably just shouted him, from the side of the stage, "Hey, Kev, look at me over there." So I'm in the background looking a little bit, I'm applauding, but not fully engaged. And he's got his big beaming smile, It's a great photo. But yeah, very, very poignant night. And as you say, the FA Cup as well. Yeah, let's make this all about me. Have we got another hour? Alex Young.
Alex Young.
Gave Alex Young.
It was the FA Cup winners, because he had a theme for all of those dinners, didn't
exactly
he?
It, yeah.
So then everybody who'd won an FA Cup, then they all were invited, and he would give them all a few £100. I mean, he was very, very kind to those guys, And suddenly those guys who'd been, just fallen out of favour or out of people's minds, they were suddenly heroes again. And they would walk in, it makes me cry, walk in there and everyone would be singing and crying and hugging them. I remember Gordon Watson. Am I talking too much?
No, that's it. What time are we on? Oh, that sounds. Yeah, plenty of time.
What was I talking about? Made me forget what I was talking about now.
Gordon Watson. Was it the one with the FA Cup walking in?
He, the year before, had been in a wheelchair. Yeah. And they couldn't get him on the stage and all of this. David paid for him to go to, Foundation paid for him to go and have his hip replaced at Wrightington. And David took me to his house and we opened the door. And when these guys saw David France, they loved him. He'd changed their lives. And he's come in, and he said, "Look at me," and he started doing his exercises to show his new hip off. And David said, "Listen, you're going to carry the FA Cup in at the next do." And indeed he did. So everybody walked in, and they're calling their names out, and more, and everyone's cheering, everyone's going mad, there can't be any more. And in the end, Gordon Watson carried the cup.
The doors swing open, that classic.
And up on the stage, and it was absolutely.
And what a transformation from the year before as well.
God love him,
we spoke a lot to David recently. We've done a couple of films with him, and including one on his legacy and things like that. And, making a record of the things of his initiatives, and he told us talks at length about that story, and
it was absolutely.
But for everyone who was there, it's one of those things that you don't forget.
And
as I say, for myself to be involved the following year, it was I polished the FA Cup.
You did polish it. I can see you polishing the FA Cup.
Still got it in me.
I
still remember the door opening.
I remember because when you hire the FA Cup, it comes with its own
proper
security guard,
yeah.
handcuffed to the cup.
Yeah. And he just,
So,
literally,
Yeah.
and the fella called me over and he was like, it was so casual, he's like, oh, come here, lads, and just chucked me a cloth. I went, yeah, clean that for us. It's like,
yes.
bizarre.
That's
so, yeah,
fantastic.
there
It
you
was
go.
beautiful as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll have to throw all these pictures in, won't I?
Yeah, get them in.
Can I interview myself next time?
Yeah, I'll interview you.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Share podcasts.
Good.
Right, well, I think we should probably end there before my head gets too big. Thanks for giving me your time today.
Well, it's been an absolute delight.
joy.
To be here. Thank you.
We're going to go watch Wolverhampton Wanderers. Any predictions?
Well, I'll tell you what I read before. Somebody said that before Christmas, Wolves had less points than a triangle. Which I thought was very funny. However, they're having a sort of renaissance now, aren't they?
Well,
so
they had a comfortable win and we got battered at the weekend.
Anything could happen.
There's this just popped into my mind. There's a tweet that keeps coming up on my timeline, and I'm sorry, it's just I wish I could credit it to someone. I can't remember who's doing it. I'll put it in. I think someone basically said, every team this season who's doing badly consistently, suddenly thinks they've hit form and they've gone, we've done it, we've worked it out. But in actual fact, you've just played West Ham.
I saw a thing came through them carrying the West Ham coffin today came through on my WhatsApp. So never mind.
So you're not making any predictions then? It could go either way.
Well, obviously I'd like a win.
Fingers crossed, eh?
But I would never bet any money on Everton.
Wise move.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Becky. I really appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It has indeed. Until next time.
Yes, let's do it again.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks for watching, everybody. Another great episode. I really loved chatting to Becky this week. She's always a lovely character, an old family friend as well. So you can tell at the end we had almost like a nice little catch up. As always, all of the links will be in the description, all to the Substack, any YouTube links, EFCHeritageSociety.com for loads of articles. Of course, go and check out her podcast. That'll be down there as well. Everything always in the description. Also, this week is the week of our very first Everton Heritage Social night, the first Thursday of every month. And on Thursday we'll be at the Denby Castle in the basement. Rob Sawyer and Gav Buckland will be doing a talk on Catterick and Kendall. Nice chilled out environment. Everyone come down, have a drink, meet some friends, have a social, and listen to a couple of very intelligent guys tell us all about their knowledge on Everton. To be honest, by the time this is out, it'll have already happened. So hopefully that went really well. You can find it, maybe not necessarily that one, but in the future, let me direct you to our Patreon account. Please do like and subscribe our YouTube and everything there. Like I say, search for Everton Heritage Society as well as the Everton Heritage Show. But particularly on Patreon, it's a free channel. It's where I'm going to be keeping all of these heritage shows chronologically, as well as our Heritage Society films as well. But also, if you are so kind as to donate potentially £3 a month, as little as £3 a month, to help us support everything that we do on the media side of the Heritage Society, to keep the show going, to keep our films going as well. You can do that through Patreon, and it will be where I put video footage of our social nights. So if you can't make it to the socials, if you're not going to be in Liverpool, maybe you weren't able to get a ticket, and there are things that you're interested in being a part of, you can tune in online, but as I say, it will be behind that small paywall, as I say, £3 a month, or you can give us £5 a month, you can give us £10 a month if you want. It's entirely up to you, or give us nothing at all, but you just won't be able to see those social nights. So keep an eye out for tickets to those socials. The next ones are going to be brilliant, I know that. We've got some cool guests lined up. As always, EFCHeritageSociety.com for tickets, social media, all of that. You know the script by now. Looking forward to the next one. We've got Alan Myers coming in next week. So until then, see you soon.
Heritage.